Pack your bags, we're headed on a big old ride, with dreams of sunlit shores and the open skies, from the hills of Cyprus to where the world collides.
All right, so we're diving into your Malta trip research. Looks like sunshine and history and amazing food all wrapped into one.
Yeah, and what's interesting here is how they were able to pack so much into their trip,
Really?
but still leave room for those spontaneous moments, that make travel so special.
Totally. Like they landed in Slima from Cyprus.
Right.
You said they live in Cyprus, right?
They do,
Yeah.
they do. And, they dove right in. It seems like they found this fantastic waterfront restaurant called Fortizza. Have you heard of it?
I have not.
Okay, so it sounds just lovely right on the water. Stunning views.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. They said it was shockingly affordable,
Really?
especially for like a touristy spot.
Yeah.
So really a win-win.
Amazing views and easy on the wallet. I like it.
I'm adding it to my list as we speak. But from Slima, they went to Valletta, which is a total step back in time. They explored those streets and even saw the cannons fired at the Upper Barrack Gardens. Not once, but twice.
Twice?
Yeah, they lucked out.
Wow. What are the chances?
I know, right? It must have been incredible to see that in person.
I bet.
They mentioned the saluting battery specifically, which is this ceremonial platform with cannons overlooking the Grand Harbor. It dates back to the 16th century.
Wow.
And get this, it wasn't just for defense.
Okay.
It was also used to signal ships entering the harbor.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine being on a ship, centuries ago and hearing those cannons boom as you sail into Valletta?
Talk about a grand entrance, right?
I know.
Really makes you think about all the history there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The saluting battery has seen it all, especially during the Great Siege of Malta.
Oh, right.
It's a powerful reminder of how resilient that island is.
Yeah.
And just how important it's been throughout history.
For sure. So from there, it looks like they went for something a little different in Marsaxlokk, that fishing village you always hear about.
Yeah, they were really drawn to those colorful boats all bobbing in the harbor.
Oh, yeah.
And that market seems like they really love a good waterfront scene.
Well, who doesn't? But let's be real. What about the food?
Ah, yes. So they raved about the grilled swordfish
Nice.
at this place, Karubia, in Marsaxlokk.
Okay.
Said it was the freshest they'd ever had.
Really?
Caught that day and cooked to perfection.
Oh, man. That sounds amazing.
I know, right? Grilled swordfish by the water, dream come true.
Yes.
But it gets even better. So on their way to Gozo, they had this chance encounter with another couple.
Yeah.
And guess what? They were expats from Cyprus, too.
Get out. No way.
I know, right?
What are the odds?
They were just asking for directions, and turns out they all had mutual friends back in Cyprus.
Wow. Small world.
Isn't it?
That's amazing how travel can do that.
It really is.
Yeah.
You never know who you'll meet while you're out exploring.
For sure. And speaking of Gozo, how was the ferry ride over there?
Well, they described it as bumpy,
Oh, no.
which I'm thinking probably means a pretty exciting ride, especially if you're prone to seasickness.
Oh, I could imagine.
But hey, sometimes those bumpy rides make the best stories.
That's true. That's true.
And they were rewarded with those incredible views from the Citadel in Victoria.
Oh, yeah.
They said the panorama from the ramparts was just breathtaking.
Wow. I can only imagine sweeping views of the island, the Mediterranean Sea.
Like a postcard.
That's so cool. And the Citadel itself, that's like a big historical site, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
A UNESCO World Heritage Site, steeped in history.
Wow.
It's not just a pretty view.
Right.
Lots to discover there.
Very cool. So speaking of history, they had that St. Patrick's Day story about Oliver Reed, the actor.
Oh, yeah, that's right. On their last night in Valletta, they ended up at this pub called The Pub.
Okay.
And get this, it's the actual spot where Oliver Reed passed away.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, he was a bit of a, larger-than-life character.
Yeah.
Known for enjoying a drink or two.
Right.
And as it happened, that's where he spent his final hours.
Wow. What a coincidence.
I know, right? Like their trip collided with a piece of movie history.
It really makes you wonder what other stories those walls could tell.
Right.
Amazing.
So many layers of history hidden in plain sight. It really does. You could be sitting there in a pub completely unaware that something so significant happened there.
Exactly. And they just sort of stumbled upon it. That's the beauty of travel, though, right? You just never know
You really don't.
what you're going to find.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we still haven't heard about their impressions of Slima, their first stop.
That's right back to the beginning. What did they think?
Yeah, so they seem to really enjoy that Slima waterfront promenade.
Yeah.
especially after a long day of travel.
Makes sense.
They mentioned this quirky little bar there called the Hole in the Wall.
The hole in the wall. What is that, like a well-known place, or did they just...
I think it was one of those happy accidents.
Okay.
They were actually trying to find somewhere else, but took a wrong turn and stumbled upon it.
Ah, that's awesome.
I know, right?
Those are the best.
They loved it, though. Raved about the friendly locals, the atmosphere, and those views.
That sounds about right for Salima.
Yeah.
All those cute little back streets and hidden spots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a good reminder that sometimes the best memories are those unplanned ones, you know,
Oh, yeah.
where you just let yourself get a little lost.
Totally agree. I feel like those are always the stories you end up telling over and over.
For sure. And their blog does such a good job of painting that picture of Malta. You know, you can practically feel the sunshine and smell the salty air just reading it.
I know, right? It makes you wonder what else is out there. What else we haven't discovered.
I was just thinking that. It's like they gave us a little taste.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to explore.
Totally. And I love that they showed you don't have to have everything perfectly planned.
Right.
Like they had their itinerary, but then those spontaneous moments.
It's all about the balance.
Yeah, like that encounter with the other expats.
Exactly. You just never know who you're going to meet when you're traveling.
Right. Meeting new people over some Maltese cocktails.
Now you're talking. Did they mention any other food, by the way, besides that swordfish?
Ooh, good question.
I'm curious what other local treats they discovered.
Me too.
They didn't go into detail about every single meal, but they did talk about trying pastizi.
Pastizi, what's that?
It's like these little savory pastries filled with ricotta or mushy peas.
Okay.
Apparently, they're a Maltese staple, and it sounds like they became a fast favorite for them.
Interesting. So basically just be adventurous and try new things, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how you find the best stuff.
For sure. And how can we forget those cannons at the Upper Barrack Gardens? Seeing them fired twice must have been...
Oh, yeah. They were blown away by that.
I bet. That sound must have been incredible.
They said it was really powerful, like a physical reminder of the history.
Wow.
Like you're right there in it.
Exactly. It's one thing to read about history, but to actually experience it firsthand.
Totally different.
I can't even imagine.
And speaking of history, their time in Valletta sounds fascinating. They were wandering those old streets,
So cool.
admiring the architecture.
Love it.
They said it's like stepping back in time.
It really is. And their pictures really were stunning. Those honey-colored buildings bathed in like golden light.
Magical.
Totally magical, like stepping into a painting. But they did say those streets were pretty steep.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say.
Better pack your walking shoes.
Definitely. But hey, those hills are worth it for the views, right?
That's true. That's true. Speaking of which, that Grand Harbor view from the Upper Barrack Garden,
Oh, man.
they couldn't stop talking about it.
I bet. It's iconic.
I know, and to think that view has been captivating people for centuries.
It really has. So much history in that one spot.
Totally makes you feel like a small part of something much bigger, right?
Exactly. Like you're connected to something larger than yourself.
Exactly. So on that note, their Gozo trip.
Ah, yes.
That ferry ride might have been a little rough, but Gozo itself sounds incredible.
Amazing. Completely different vibe, even though it's so close.
Right. They said it was the perfect mix of history and natural beauty and super laid back.
Sounds perfect.
I know, right? And the Citadel in Victoria seemed to really stand out for them.
As it should. It's like this perfectly preserved piece of history with those views from the ramparts. Unforgettable.
It's really incredible how much they managed to do in such a short time.
I know, right? From exploring Valletta to those charming fishing villages.
They really made the most of it.
They did. And they gave us such a great starting point for planning a trip.
Totally. But you know what I love most is how open they were to those spontaneous moments.
Me too. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You got to have a plan, but also be ready to just go with the flow.
Like finding that hidden bar, the hole in the wall.
Or bumping into those other expats.
Exactly. It's those little unplanned moments that often become the best memories.
Couldn't agree more.
So what have we learned today, folks? Malta is calling.
Sun history, amazing food, hidden gems.
And maybe even a few bumpy ferry rides.
Hey, you never know until you go right.
That's right.
Yeah.
You just got to book that flight and see where the adventure takes you.
You like flying where we never hide.
Out on the highway, chasing the tide.